Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening. Happy Friday, everyone.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening.
As you come on, let us know where you're streaming from this evening. Hey, Dorothy, how you doing this evening?
Miss Ja, tell my brother Thaddeus what's up. He'll probably be on if he's not driving tonight. He'll probably be on momentarily.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yep. Good night, everyone. Come on in. Let us know where you're streaming from. Hey, Barbara Allen.
Hello.
Good night, good night, good night. Good night, everyone.
Good evening, good evening.
Mm-hmm. What's up, Joy James? Good evening. I'm just getting off the road. Just getting off the road.
Right.
All right. We're going to jump in. My name is Jomo.
I'm Charmaine.
We come together on Friday nights for real, raw, and relevant conversation in reference to relationships. We've been married now 23 plus years, coming up on 24, God willing. And we get together Friday nights and just talk about real conversations in reference to relationships.
Yes.
Tonight we have a few Cousins Chronicles. The first one, I just got off the road. I drove up to almost Tallahassee, Live Oak, and met my firstborn there, and he needed his jacket, so I was going to.
Getting cold.
It was getting cold, so I was going
Getting a little nippy in North Florida.
We were going to ship it or mail it, and then I said, I'm trying to I wanted to get him a jacket, and I had to get some paperwork. We're in the process of getting him a new place to live, so it all worked out. Had a good time. Smiled at him. That brother stays smelling good. Boy, he's a cologne connoisseur. I mean,
yes,
that brother got some colognes. I mean, he got more. Yeah, he's really good at. He has a good nose for that. Is that what they call it?
He does.
Yeah,
he passed by a couple of us. A couple of ladies were standing in church during praise and worship. He passed by us, and we all was like, "Ooh, Jomo, come on now."
He got that aroma thing going on. I need to get on. I don't.
He had that smell good.
Yeah, he got that smell good going on, and that was one thing. Other cousins chronicle was pretty cool. My 13-year-old said he's going to go on. Is it a 40-day?
No, a 30-day.
A 30-day cell phone fast.
Yeah, he says he's been on his cell phone too much, and he's trying to discipline himself with his cell phone.
Come on.
So he's going on a 30-day cell phone fast. Now, the problem I have with the cell phone fast is I got him a cell phone because it's convenient for me to get in contact with him no matter where he is. And if I leave the kids home by themselves, we don't really have a house phone. So there's no way for me to talk to him. So now I'm feeling like I have to buy a house phone so I can call him, or he can call me when I'm not at home.
He can call you with that phone.
Or like when the dog needs to be taken out. The dog is in the room with us.
The dog.
And Josiah be upstairs. So now I'm like yelling his name versus me just calling him. How many of you all have a child and you guys don't even yell their name anymore? You just call them on their cell phone, and y'all in the same roof, and you call each other in the house. That's terrible, but it's convenience.
I've called Charmaine while in the house.
Yeah. It's like when you don't know where the person is and you don't feel like searching, you just being lazy.
I think it's a modern day intercom.
It is. I agree.
Yeah.
I have another Cousins Chronicle.
Okay, go ahead.
I am a new auntie. I went to go see my new nephew this morning, and he is so adorable. I mean, I think babies are the best when they're not yours because you can just love on them and then give them back. But he was just too young. He was just born yesterday. So I didn't even pick him up. I just adored him and just looked at him and took videos. I did the whole auntie thing.
Okay.
In the hospital.
Okay.
I was just loving on my new baby.
I was in the car all day, so.
Yeah.
But it was good.
Yeah.
Got a lot of quad time.
Yeah.
All right.
But anyway.
So tonight's topic. 8 ways to get your man to open up emotionally to you. Now, see, this is one of those topics because for the most part, research states that women use more words than men on average. Now, we do have some men who are talkative, but on average, women are more verbose, speak more words than men. So oftentimes in relationships, women's wonder why this man won't speak, why he won't open up, why he won't express his emotions. Well, I think for a long time we were trained not to express our emotions. I know for me as an athlete, you would be in situations where you'd be in pain, but you'd have to suppress it. I know for those brothers and sisters who may be in the military and you've had situations that were traumatic, you had to suppress it. So many times in life, we have been taught to suppress our emotions. So now that we get in a relationship and a person says, open up, well, I've been trained to close up. I've been trained to refrain from expressing my true emotions. So now that a person may be in a relationship and now you're asking a person to open up and share your feelings and share your heart.
It's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable.
Right. It's uncomfortable. You're treading in new waters, new territory. And how do you make the other person feel like you're a safe place to open up to?
Correct. So tonight we have 8 key points on how to allow or open your man up so he could be more vulnerable to you.
Right.
Okay.
Emotionally.
Right. So number one, let's start by talking about things he wants to talk about.
Right. There's no better way to get somebody to open up to you and start talking by opening up with something that they are actually interested in and that they want to talk about. So if you know he's an avid golfer or he's a huge football fan, or if he loves computers, or if he loves going fishing or some type of outdoor sports, why not open up with some things in conversation that he enjoys doing or that is a hobby of his?
Correct. Stay in a space that he's comfortable.
Right.
I've seen a mistake that some people have made is they go outside of the person's lane. And for example, you take your husband to a banquet, they're talking about computer chips. He don't like talking about your computer chips. Well, guess what? You're not going to get a lot of conversation out of him. Because, but if you talk about an interest that he's interested in, oftentimes the thing that people are most interested in talking about is themselves.
Right.
So focus on that. And then in the midst of you talking about whatever topic he enjoys, then you say, hey, babe, that's really cool. What do you think about this? Meaning you've already got him talking. So now you transition it smoothly to the next topic.
Right. Number 2, consistency is the key. You want to be consistent with you being emotionally available to talk about things that they want to talk about. You want to be consistent with building trust, because them opening up emotionally is a huge part of building trust in your relationship. So building trust in your relationship, as you're building trust, be consistent with the things you're doing. People like when people have a routine.
Correct.
If they feel like they know what to expect from you and you're not constantly changing up as far as your emotional state or the things that you do, it makes them feel more comfortable being able to open up to you because they know what to expect.
Where was I? I was driving somewhere this week and someone called out to me and brother was going through a rough spot. You remember that trip in Orlando, we were driving back from Orlando, and that was a rough conversation. Right. And what I realized, a lot of men are emotional, but they can't be emotional with the one they love, because oftentimes when they are vulnerable or emotional, that moment, that time, that disposition is used against them in the future. So
like they were weak.
Correct. So if you are going to ask your spouse to be vulnerable, you have to have a consistency about how you're going to work this thing, and not use their moment of transparency or vulnerability against them.
Right.
Because see, once you do that, then you have shut the door to future vulnerability, because they realize when I'm real with you, when I'm 100 with you, you can't handle it.
Right.
What's that movie? You can't handle the truth. So now that I try to be honest with you, you can't handle it. What up, OT? God bless you, bro. So oftentimes people can't handle when you get real with them. And that's the struggle in a lot of relationships. People want you to put on the front, but then when you want to be 100, they can't handle 100. So we have to be mindful that if I'm going to ask you to open up and be real with me, can you handle me being real? And then once you handle being real, are you going to use this against me in the future?
Right. That's really good. Number 3, be vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable before someone else can be vulnerable with you. If you open up, then it makes them feel more comfortable being able to open up to you. If you're closed off, they're going to mirror how you are in the relationship. So, being vulnerable and being open is a two-way street. I remember when we were dating, I was pretty comfortable from the very beginning.
You're wide open.
With too many things. I was probably too comfortable.
Wide open.
But at the same time, it allowed him to be able to be free and be more of himself and, not so closed off, because he's like, okay, she is just like off the chain. So I can just say whatever. But I think too, how you respond in those moments, you can be vulnerable and open up, but how you respond to them being vulnerable also is an indicator for them as to how vulnerable they can be with you in the future.
Yeah, I think she was a little too vulnerable in my personal opinion. You know what I mean? I think I went to her apartment, and I think I was waiting for her. I think she was in the bathroom. She said, "Come on in." So when I thought she said, "Come on into the bathroom," I thought maybe she was doing her makeup or, lipstick or, what I'm saying? I don't know. I wasn't expecting what I saw.
What did you see? I was on the toilet, y'all.
She's on the toilet saying, "Let's talk."
I don't care.
I just wasn't ready for that. That's a little too much information. But obviously it worked. I'm here.
It worked. Yep.
Yeah.
Number 4.
Be compassionate. If you're going to ask someone to be vulnerable and open up, you got to make sure you come with some compassion. So for example, you tell a person, "Listen, I did this, I did that. You so stupid. Why would you so now I'm transparent. I'm being real. And now after me being real, you're using it against me and you're calling me, whether stupid, ignorant, that was dumb. Why would you do that?" And obviously I'm telling you this because I'm trying to be real. But if you use what I'm saying and it turns negative, well, men learn to not do that anymore. And I have so many brothers that I talk to who cannot be vulnerable, transparent, or real with their spouses because it ends up being used against them. Now, I'm not saying that if the person consistently makes mistakes, they cannot use the material. If you keep fumbling the ball, well, guess what? It's going to be a negative thing. So I can't get mad at a female who calls you on your mess if you keep messing up. Now, the challenge is if you messed up and you fixed it and you're not messed up anymore and you keep getting called on the mess, well, then that's the problem. Because at the end of the day, if you want me to be vulnerable and truthful, well, please let it be a safe place. Because if you want truth and truth ends up hurting me, I'm going to stop using truth. I don't know about y'all, but there's a season in my life where it was easier to lie. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Have you ever, let's be honest, let's have a moment. Have you ever found at times it's easier just to lie than to tell the truth? Because telling the truth comes with so many ramifications. Now, I am not.
If you do dirty stuff.
I'm not advocating lying. I'm just okay. Let's do a quick poll.
Sometimes
who here has lied in your relationship? Just put a Y.
Everybody has.
There it is. Yeah.
The thing is a lot of times in relationships you lie because you're scared of the ramifications or how the person is going to respond to whatever you did. So if you don't do shicey stuff, then you don't have to worry about how they're going to respond.
Sometimes not even shicey.
What is it?
It's just it's expedient. Oftentimes when a person lies, it's expedient because that's the one did it. Versus just saying, "Listen, I spent too much money. I bought something I shouldn't have bought. I was a place I shouldn't have been. I was on the phone with the wrong person." Now, see, this is where we get caught up all the time. where you on the phone with a person you shouldn't be on the phone on, and they ask you who you talking to, and you say your mama. Lies. You know,
That's
and
shiesty.
yeah. And this happens a lot with baby mama and baby daddy drama. Because what happens when you get into these mixed relationships, not necessarily mixed, but
blended
families, it's very difficult to try to work that through with a new person and not jack up the old jacked up.
You know what? The best thing in blended families is to be totally transparent between adults. You know that you started a relationship with this person, it didn't work out, you have children, you don't want the children to suffer as a result of your decision making. You have to learn to co-parent responsibly. Point blank, period. If there's somebody else that's going to be in your child's life that's not you, then you need to have a relationship with them, because they are going to be spending time with your child now. So you have to learn, that's a part of adulting if you're going to be in a blended family. You know, you have to learn how to deal with another person taking care of your child.
Oof.
And that's it, and that's all.
Lord Jesus.
But another aspect of being compassionate and allowing someone to open up emotionally toward you is to be compassionate to yourself. Because if they see that you're so hard on yourself and you judge yourself every time you make a mistake, you're so harsh on yourself, then they're not going to want to make mistakes around you, because they're going to feel like you're going to treat them or judge them the way you treat yourself. So you want to make sure too that being compassionate actually mirrors compassion. So you want to show compassion to yourself as well, in order for them to feel like you'll be compassionate with them when they open up to you.
That's real. All right. So the last one was be compassionate, and also with that, don't judge. The next one is pick a private location
to have a serious conversation.
If you're gonna have a serious conversation and you want a person to be vulnerable, don't do it at the restaurant where something pop off and you have someone always interrupting you. Find a quiet place over here, or you get emotional, whatever may happen. Find a place where the person can be more open to be vulnerable. Find a private spot, you know, because sometimes in certain audiences, people front. Okay, men will front, women will front, but we're talking about men. Sometimes a man will front like he hard in front of other people. You feel me? Sometimes a man will front like he's not hurt because other people are watching, so they don't want to show any flaws, so they put on a bluff like they got it, but they don't have it. So you have to be mindful that if I'm going to ask my husband to be vulnerable, I have to make sure I'm in a place that he can be vulnerable. Because if not, his pride won't allow him to be vulnerable. Because the pride of me being Mufasa, or the man, or the dude, or the whatever, that supersedes this moment. So I have to make sure I create the proper environment for vulnerability to take place.
That's good.
Perfect example. And this may be a little risque, what I'm about to say. If you are married and your wife is naked in the bedroom, it's a lot different than wife being naked in the family room. Got it? Now, it's both rooms, but my point to you is the bedroom is for the bed. More privacy is a better set, okay? The family room is for everybody, right? So, boy, I'm on a slippery slope right here. But the gist of it is,
okay, let
me say it another way. If you're in the shower, you should be naked. Okay? In the kitchen, you can be naked, but not most of the time. My point to you is
what?
Certain places have a certain decorum.
Okay.
Got it? So it's not a shock if a person is naked in the shower, because that's logical. Got it? Meaning, another way to say it, they're naked and unashamed.
Okay.
Got it? So that environment is conducive to you being naked. Cool? Now, go in the front yard, that's not conducive to being what? Naked, because you got neighbors. I know. I went off on a cliff. Okay, I went off on a cliff. My point to you is the environment you set up has a great, is a main contributing factor to you being open. Okay, so when one of us goes in the shower, anybody go in the shower, you feel cool being naked because that's the environment that's been set. You're not going to do that outside your house because that's the wrong environment. So if you want your husband to be naked and unashamed in reference to his emotional state. You have to put him in an environment where he's comfortable being naked. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay. So number 5 was
to all my brothers.
Come
on. Give me a yes. No. Do you understand?
Location.
Do you understand the words? Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth?
Say yes, please.
It took me a long time to get there, but I got there.
Pick a private location so people feel comfortable talking and expressing themselves. Yes. Amen. So number 6, talk while doing an activity. I love this because there is nothing like doing something that makes people feel comfortable already. Like let's say your spouse likes to play pool, or they like to
jog, walk, exercise,
or they like to walk.
Yeah. You catch them in an activity. Not
where they're comfortable.
I shouldn't say catch. You use the activity to be a bridge to a conversation.
Right. And it makes people feel more comfortable to let down their guard and open up and talk if you're doing something that they like doing. If it's your wife and she likes to paint, or, she likes to, I don't know, do some type of craft or something. I have no idea. She likes to garden. Join them in an activity,
and you'll open them up to more.
To let down their guard.
No, it's good because I know even in church, one of the biggest growth of men was when we started playing basketball together. We started playing basketball together, and before you know it, people started opening up. We started playing cards together. All of a sudden, people started opening up. So if you can get them in an environment where they're active, you'll get more, because sometimes you think brothers are mute, M-U-T-E. But then you play basketball, and they got a whole bunch of mouth now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not a bad thing, but it's good but what it was, they were not in the proper environment to where they can really communicate. Mm-hmm. So it's amazing how when you put a person in the right environment, then all of a sudden they become more open.
Right. Amen. So number 7, try not to face off.
Okay.
Which means you don't want to be face to face with the person, because it can be perceived as a little aggressive. It can be
confrontational.
Conceived as confrontational. So sometimes it's best to talk like this, where you're side by side, like this, or diagonal.
Mm-hmm.
So that way you're not so confrontational when you're talking. Some people, like if you're sitting on a bench or whatever, you're looking out at the water or whatever, it's a lot less confrontational to
research states that people are more open when they're not looking eye to eye
and express themselves.
See, for example, when a man looks eye to eye, some men, that means about to fight. You know what I'm saying?
And sometimes you're so busy trying to read facial expressions, it throws you off on what you're trying to say, because you're so busy trying to read the person's facial expression, you're not really getting your thoughts out properly. Correct. Or you might shut down in the middle of what you're saying because you think, oh my God, I'm just burying myself the more and more I talk. And it may not even be the case.
Correct.
Yeah.
Number 8.
And lastly,
ask what they need to feel safe.
I mean, that's just, to me, upfront, honest, totally, like you ask them, what can I do to make you feel safe? I love that.
I thought about this too, babe. The question, listen, I'm about to tell you something. And when I say this, it's going to make me feel really vulnerable. Can I share this?
It sets the person up to be more compassionate about what you're about to say.
Hey, babe, I'm about to tell you something right now, and I'm going to be really vulnerable to you. So,
or is it okay for me to be really vulnerable?
Yeah, is it all right if I was vulnerable with you right now? What are you doing? You're setting the atmosphere for the person to be compassionate. I'm about to bare my soul. Can I do it? Because again, sometimes when you bare your soul, the person's not ready for it. I know in my situation with us, there's been times where she came out and I wasn't ready for it. And it wasn't a good response.
No, it wasn't.
And so I think you should kind of set a person up and saying, listen, there's some things I want to talk about, and I'm going to be vulnerable, I'm be honest, and be transparent. Is this a good space? Is this a good time? And then you kind of sit back and say, okay, let me put my pants up. And you can really lock in and say, okay, go ahead, tell me what you got to say. Because truth be told, there's nothing wrong with telling somebody exactly what's going on or speaking truth. There's nothing wrong with that. Not everyone wants to receive it or hear it, but there's nothing wrong with trying to communicate and speak truth in love, because at the end of the day, you'll never change what you don't confront. Right. So the goal is to create an environment where he is not bottled up. Men stroke out, men have heart attacks. Meaning to say stroke out. Men often die by heart attacks or stroke. Both of those things are a lack of releasing. So men will internalize and keep it and keep it and keep it and die younger. Women release and live longer. So as a man, we have to learn how to get these things off our chest and express ourselves in a healthy way. Mm-hmm. Good point, because some people don't know how to express themselves in a healthy way. Right. But to express ourselves in a healthy way so that we can live longer. Right. Brothers, we hold on. We keeping stuff internalized. Mm-hmm. We have blood pressure, all these stress related diseases, because we don't know how to let it go. Right. And we've been conditioned to hold everything in, man up. No. You can release. Now, first off, before you need to release to your wife, you need to release to God. 1 Peter 5:7 says, cast all your cares upon the Lord, for he cares for you. So give it to God. Now, I know it's easier said than done. Glory to God. It's easier said than done. But give it to God and then communicate with your spouse and say, these are the things I'm going through. Now, I know when I lost my mother, my wife was trying to figure out how to communicate with me. Now, we could communicate, but how do I navigate through the loss?
These tips would have been really good for me when we were going through that time. Jomo's had loss, illness.
Jeez.
And then with our daughter, I think, all of that could have been devastating for our marriage. But I think these tips moving forward, we like our life to be an open book so people can learn from our mistakes. Not only learn from our mistakes, but get some great healthy tips for you guys to be able to use in your relationship, so you don't have to go through everyone's going to go through hard times, but you don't have to go through as many hard times. Because if you apply these tips, to get your spouse to open up, it makes it so much easier to communicate on different levels. When you know that your spouse is a safe place to talk, then it really opens up things when they are going through hard times. They know that they can talk to you without judgment, without, you thinking they're weak or they're less than. But being a safe place for each other is so important in a relationship. So these tips will help you with your communication. Absolutely.
Yeah, I know for me, I wasn't ready. I didn't know how to communicate. I was mad first, and then I was angry, then I was frustrated.
Right.
And but with every experience you live, you learn, and you can grow to be a better communicator. Because at the end of the day, relationships are built and broken based on how we communicate with each other.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys joining us this Friday evening. Remember,
love, laugh, and learn. God bless y'all.
Good night.